Okay, figured I'd do this, see if make it a little easier. So I've taken those two nuts off of this part right here. So what if you can see is what it does is make this one side that moves. So what I'm going to do is I've got, if I need to adjust the window from the switch, now you can't see it from here, but what I'm doing right now is putting that one arm in the forward track. So now what we've got to do is get this arm in this track. And as you can see, it's not right in the spot it should be. I'm going to see, I might be able to pop this into place. It feels like I probably can. So what I'm going to do is put this lower one back in theory. Just got to feel where that's at. There we go. There's one part. There's the other part. Now what I'm hoping I can do is pop this in place, which I'm not sure if that will work. No, it's not. So that's going to have to come in order to get that. But now that this is in, I'm going to loosely put these on here. So if I need to snag a little bit, and if it's got a little play in it, that's okay. What I'm going to do is try to lower the window, and that's going to bring this out this way, and hopefully that will give enough room to be able to put it in place. Now once it's in the middle here, it's almost at its furthest point back. The rear pivot like that is the one that moves the most. Yeah, see, I don't know if you can see the bottom here. It's not, it's here is where it's the furthest towards the other end. So what I'll have to do is I'm going to try to get it to there where it's closest to that other end, where this bar is level. And therefore almost at the other end. I'm not going to be able to just pop that in place. So what I might need to do to make up for that, I might need to take this out again. No, I can get it. Let's see what we got here. Thing is, this arm. No, I just figured out a better way to do it. So, be right back. So I'm taking off the, now it's in a full upright position. The one in the front doesn't move a lot. One in the back is where most of the travel is. So what I'm going to do, but this arm doesn't, while this arm is on this pivot, it's a scissor, it's on a pivot. This one is not. It's mounted to this plate where this gear drives the motor. So it doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't have any of this motion. So in order to get it all the way beyond the edge of this, the easiest way is going to be to have the drive motor disconnected, because that's basically not supposed to move, so that you don't lose it. Now this one in the front, I believe is a 13. No, it's not. Okay. Maybe it's also a 10. Yes, it is. Okay, it's a 10 too. 10 also. So these two and this one back here are the ones that hold the plate that holds the motor in place. So what's going to happen here, I've got it in basically the full upright position, so the glass should stay in place, but still be careful. You don't want it to drop and break, and then you have to find another window. Yeah. So there's pressure on this. It's not moving. I'm going to take the whole thing apart. I mean, as far as I'm going to take this pivot off too, and basically fit it into place. And then once this is in that track, and the other one is in the track, it's basically almost self-centering. So self-centered. So now there's no tension on it because both of these are not attached. So you can see how that's. So I think the key here is going to be to get I don't know if you can see, but the pivot one is out now. The motor is disconnected. So then I can bring this one all the way back. I'm holding the glass up with these, and see on this, yeah, there we go. That's in place. So push the glass back up. Nice. So that is in. So what I want to do now also this scissor arm has got one of those pivots on either side, as you can see, which is no big deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the motor back in place with this plate, as it doesn't move around. So once that's in there, this glass is going to stay where it needs to be. Go to your home. There we go. Almost there. What was holding me up there is the clearance of the motor to that front that guy, where the weather stripping runs down. See, so now that this is on here, this window is going to stay there. Yeah, that's the point. That's the thing. I should have did that first. Don't want to cross or anything. If you happen to lose any of these little nuts, they have these built-in washers. It's good to just have that. I think it's called a. I think it's a shouldered nut. So there's that. And this you can tighten down all the way. You don't have to worry about having to have any flop around for adjustment afterwards. You don't need about any play. This can be this only goes one way basically in there. Very little fine tuning. So once that's there, and another thing you can look at is the only thing I'm doing here is this front mounting point. While there's very little variation or adjustment, there's going to be some marks on the body, on the body panel where it was before, and just try to put everything as close to exactly back to where it was, so you don't have any adjustment issues later on. You don't have anything pinching, then it's going to be, the biggest thing is not being rough under weather stripping, but if it pinches and it doesn't go smoothly where it's supposed to be, it's stress on the motor. And I've had to rebuild one of the front motors on here. But okay, so now we're back to this, and now you can kind of see this is what goes in here. So we're going to put this in there. And so, okay. You'll notice, for a minute there, I'm like, how did this happen? This lever, this point, it's directional too, because this point where the bushing is headed out this way goes here, and the other goes into the other side. So now what I'm looking at is what we were trying to get this in there, so I have to move it a little so I can get that one in position. So I gotta bring it down a little bit until a little more. So I can get this in the front, get it to feed into there on the other side. And I think the best way to do that is going to be in the full upright position. So this is one of those things I'm talking about. You don't want it to pinch. That is a little more tight than you probably want it to be as far as pinching. And where's the best spot to get this in there? Right now what I'm looking at is it's knocking on it, so maybe I need to go further down. See, this one just moves around, and the pivot point down here is where your variable is to get it in place. But the other one has no variation. Let's move this down here. There we go. Okay, so at this lower position, and that makes sense. All the way down. Can't see in here with the camera, of course, what I'm showing, but you can see when you're in this position, when you're at where I'm at right now. You can see where it has to go. So all the way down. What we have to do is get that into there. And the fully down position, it still doesn't go in. Again, that's by design, So what I'm going to do is loosen the motor up again. You got to get both of them in place. Good thing about this at the bottom, and having it all the way at the bottom might just be the best way to go, because it's one of those things like once you get one in place, the other one pops out of place. But when you're in the fully lowered position, this is still got 20% that will never travel this way, so it's not going to travel enough this way to fall out. What we're going to do is undo this to give us a little bit more play, to be able to get a little more movement, to be able to get that bottom pivot in place. And once we get this bottom one in place, getting the top one, getting this part shouldn't be any issue. So now, there we go. There it is. So that's in. And what we're doing now, there we go. It's getting this motor back in place. Boom, there it is. We are in. So now both of those, both of the pivot points on the bottom are in place. Now we still haven't put this in. That's going to be the last part, but these, once these are in here, they tend to stay in there. So there is a man and his wife. They live out in the middle of nowhere, and it's late at night. They hear a knock on the door. Guy gets dressed, he goes downstairs. The wife hears him talking, and you know, blah 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 blah. You just kind of hear that voice, so you don't really hear what they're saying. A little time goes by. A little time passes, he goes back upstairs, goes to bed, gets dressed, gets back in bed. She's like, what was that? He's like, well, this guy needed a push. She's like, did you give him a push? He's like, well, no, it's middle of the night, you know. And again, right here, I'm making sure this is in the same, this happens to be in the same place it was, so yeah, so he's like, no, I didn't give a push, it's the middle of the night. And she's like, well, what if that was one of us, you know, what if that was me? You know, I was out in the middle all by myself, all alone, and didn't know anybody, didn't know where I was at, and I needed a push. Wouldn't you like to think that some random person would have gave me a push? He's like, you know, you're right. So he goes back, gets dressed, goes back downstairs, opens the front door, and yells out into the darkness. He's like, hey, you still out there? Boom. See, look at that. We are in. And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, do you still need a push? And he's like, yeah. He's like, all right, where are you? The guy's like, I'm over here on the swing. So if you want to at this point, you can lubricate the guides. Ironically, it looks like from the factory they did not. I guess these are maybe the early versions of Teflon bearings or something, and they show very little to no wear on them. So there's not much other adjustment of this other than that little bit that can move in the front here. So this should just roll back up. Let's see. Perfect. There we go. That's it. And I'm probably going to shoot these with a little bit of lithium just because the speed of the motor, it's always been kind of slow. It's not, if it seems exceptionally slow, maybe check to make sure your weather stripping is all the way in on either side. And then you can also lubricate these guides with that white lithium grease. That's what I use. There might be other stuff, but cool. Well, that is fixed.